What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and today I want to do a little off-the-cuff rant about whether or not Resident Evil 7 really should have been a spin-off instead of a new main part of the series. Before we start, let me just say that there will be no spoilers in this video. So far, I've fully beaten the game 3 times now and gotten all the endings, but what I want to do here is really look at how it doesn't quite fit in with the rest of the franchise. Over the last 5 years, Resident Evil has really fallen on hard times. After the poor reception of RE6 and a few really garbage side entries like Operation Raccoon City, Capcom knew that they needed to save their series. That's when they invented the Revelations games. These are spin-offs that still include major characters from the main storyline and even advance the plot by showing us what everyone is up to between titles. They managed to seem important without actually being core games. Resident Evil 7 lacks these elements almost completely. Don't get me wrong, this game is very fun to play and kept me super scared, but is it really supposed to be part of this awesome saga? Let's analyze what Resident Evil 7 does have in common first. The Evil Company umbrella is mentioned in a couple of notes along with a few past events, so it does tie into the universe somewhat. There's also a strong use of old school puzzle mechanics, having us travel back and forth through dark locations in order to open doors and find keys. Many of the classic guns from this series also return, although they work a bit differently this time around. Other than these limited similarities, there's no real connection at all to the rest of the franchise. Resident Evil 7 honestly feels like Capcom trying to see if they can get away with just totally resetting things and erasing whatever happened before. At no point in this 10-hour adventure do we see a zombie, hear about any of the past characters, or even see what Umbrella's been up to. Because of the completely disconnected nature of this project, I genuinely think Resident Evil 7 would probably be more fitting as a side entry to start with. Maybe not exactly the beginning of a fresh series or anything, but at the very least it clearly needs to be its own standalone story. If Capcom had done this, they could have just called it Resident Evil Home and labeled it as an outside experience that shows us a very different angle to the horror of this world. That would have brought a lot more strength to the fear in my opinion, because then we wouldn't be constantly on the lookout for tiny hints of the heroes we already love. Instead, we could just embrace the game for what it does right. Some of you might be saying, but DreamcastGuy, the first-person view is obviously intended to be an evolution to the gameplay and change the course of this series. That may be true, but I still think this drastic alteration makes more sense as a side game. Especially because we've already seen spin-off Resident Evils in this style. On the original PlayStation, we had a title called Survivor that was essentially an experiment to see if these games could still be terrifying when seen through the eyes of our character. There was also a set of on-rails shooters that were made to look just like this as well, but were considered really silly by most fans due to how weird the plots were. Seeing how those projects were pretty successful on their own makes me think that Resident Evil 7 could have been a huge hit even if it didn't necessarily carry on the main series. I'm rather conflicted here. I really do like this game, I'm just disappointed that this might be all we see from now on. Capcom built a new graphics engine and introduced new gameplay mechanics just for this entry, which points in the direction that this may be the entire future of the franchise for quite a while. I already sort of miss the co-op adventures of Chris Redfield and the haunting hallways of the police station in Resident Evil 2. Hopefully the developers find a way to keep giving us a bit of both, rather than completely abandoning their roots in order to reinvent themselves. Well guys, these have just been my random, off-the-cuff thoughts on how this game fits together overall. What did you think of it? Do you wish Resident Evil 7 was simply a spin-off, or are you just glad that we're getting more sequels in this horror-filled franchise? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming of terrible zombies. I have the worst evil laugh ever. I gotta work on that. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, maybe check out my last video. Please subscribe, and if you want, share this somewhere with your friends.